Real quick, a little bit of gun news. We all know how the military has, well, certain branches of the military have moved to the SIG 320, the M17/M18. The U.S. Army has just procured or granted a $15 million contract to Glock. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I appreciate your time. Thank you for watching. We're going to talk about a case that goes against law enforcement and is a win for the average Joe gun owner. This case took place in Waterbury, Connecticut, and a guy was driving, not familiar with the area, and he's using his iPhone GPS to navigate the way. His GPS froze, so he pulled over to the side of the road to try to get things hooked back up so he could continue his drive. It was acknowledged in the court case that the area he stopped in was a well-known area for guns, drugs, prostitution, pretty rough area. So a Waterbury police officer pulls up and approaches the driver and demands to see his driver's license. The operator, who was carrying a firearm, produced his driver's license and his license to carry to the police officer. And that's where things went south. Now, the operator did tell the police officer he was carrying a gun, and remember, he produced that license to carry. Now, according to the record, at that time, the police officer grabbed the driver, ripped him out of the car, threw him to the ground, handcuffed him, and searched his person. The officer found drugs, which were nitroglycerin pills for the operator's heart condition, also a USB drive, which contained pictures of his deceased father, and $320 in cash, all which were seized. And my guess is that he thought the police officer thought that they were instruments of a crime or narcotics. Now, while the driver who was arrested was placed in the back of the police cruiser, the police officer then went to the vehicle and searched it. Now, I want to get some of these quotes right, so I'm going to read from the notes here. The police officer is claiming that his conduct was still justified because he had probable cause to believe the driver was possessing a firearm without a permit. Remember, he handed it to him. And why? Because the police officer had yet to been able to verify the validity of the permit. That's horseshit. So in this case, the driver discloses he has a firearm, produces his driver's license and his license to carry, but you're going to get locked up for that? Because what else do you have to prove? Do you have to do your background check on the side of the road for the police officer? Now, in Connecticut, carrying a firearm while driving without an ID, without a license to carry, is a felony. However, the driver did produce one. The police officer further argued that he had the authority to search the car because there was an objectively reasonable basis to suspect the driver was dangerous because of the known presence of the firearm. So if you're a legal gun owner carrying lawfully and legally, like I am right now, you're presumed guilty by at least some of the Waterbury Police Department. Have they heard about the Constitution that they're supposed to uphold and defend? Guys and gals across the country on the job, know your job, do your job, stand for people's rights. Let's continue. Now, here's where this case catches people's eyes. The police officer claimed that he had qualified immunity, and the U.S. Supreme Court created qualified immunity 40 years ago. And the quote that they use in the case is, determining whether a right is clearly established hinges on whether it would be clear to a reasonable officer that his conduct was unlawful in the situation he confronted. And that's where this officer screwed up. I have a firearm on me, I have a valid license, and I have a valid license, a permit from the government, a permission slip, and I give them to you, the government officer. That's proof beyond any reasonable doubt that my stuff is good. If you don't want to take the second to call it in to dispatch and verify it, you can't use that sad excuse of your laziness and your inability to do what you're supposed to do professionally. You can't use that as an excuse to violate people's rights. Now, the judge came out in favor of the driver. The judge said some of these things. There is no indication that the driver was even arguably unlawfully possessing a firearm. It was an uncontested fact that he presented his pistol permit to the officer before or just at the time he disclosed that he was in possession of a pistol. Some states require you to tell the police officer you're carrying one. I don't know if Connecticut is or not, but my guess is they are. The judge also concluded that no reasonable officer could believe probable cause was present. Why? Because he gave you his lawful identification saying that he can carry that firearm. The judge also said that since the driver was arrested without probable cause, that's illegal, that the search of the vehicle cannot be justified as a lawful search incident to arrest. It's a violation of your Fourth Amendment. It's called fruit of the poisonous tree. If you get something or do something as a result of an unlawful act by the police officer, everything else, no matter what happens, even if he found Jimmy Hoffa in the trunk, it's tossed out. It's not admissible. The judge also said this: on this record, no reasonable officer could conclude that the plaintiff posed a meaningful threat of being armed and dangerous simply because he disclosed that he had a pistol and a license to possess it. Any contrary holding would make it practically impossible for the lawful owner of a firearm to maintain a Fourth Amendment right to privacy in his or her automobile. Now, from what I understand, the police officer has appealed, but this is a big win. Police should not be violating people's rights. All of them, not just the Second Amendment, because this is a Second Amendment channel, but here we have a Second Amendment clearly violated for somebody, and as a result, his Fourth Amendment was violated, as he was also arrested illegally. It's an unlawful arrest. You haven't seen the end of this, but I just thought people should know about that. That there are times when courts get it right, and in this time, this case, they got it right. So let me know what you guys and gals think down below. We're about to get hammered again in a storm here in Florida. It's rained all day, almost every day we've been here, but it's still beautiful. I don't know if you can tell, the water's right behind me. It's gray there, and then the skies are black right there, and I got lightning showing out of the corner of my eye, so I'm gonna wrap this up. Till we see each other again, be safe, stay vigilant, carry your weapon. Thank you for your support. Please check out Blackout Coffee. It's because of them I am here, able to do this, and I'm learning the business side, and I hope you will continue to support us. Blackoutcoffee.com/GNG. Links are down below. Take care, everybody.